right, ladies and gentlemen of the 118 scale, 3.75 inch, 4-inch modern action figure community, I'm back again with another video. And in this video, we're going to be discussing none other than Miss Shaina M. O'Hara, also known in the Gi Joe world as Scarlett or later Agent Scarlett. Scarlett grew up a tough kid. She was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and anyone who's been to Atlanta, Georgia knows that you have to be tough. She was the youngest of 3 brothers raised by her father, who was including all 3 of her brothers and her father, were all martial arts instructors, which prompted young Shaina to begin studying martial arts at the young age of 9. She would later receive her black belt at the age of 15. Even at the age of 15, she was very skilled at martial arts. She later graduated college, summa cum laude. She also passed the bar exam. Later, she would join the Army, and her primary MOS was intelligence / counterintelligence, and her second MOS was classified. However, it also states that she was a pilot. Now, as she went through her career in the military, at some point she joined Gi Joe. She continued learning. She received advanced infantry training. She also went to Ranger School, and she studied Marine Taekwondo. She would go on to qualify in numerous weapons. She is a weapons expert. So ultimately, when you put all this together and you consider what her MOS is, intelligence, counterintelligence, could this lady be an assassin? I don't know. Kind of sounds like she is, though. So anyway, moving right along. So the original action figure of Scarlett was first introduced in 1982. She is credited with being the first female of the Gi Joe franchise, the first female of the Real American Hero franchise. Her action figure was originally released with straight arms and no peg holes in her feet. She was later re-released in 1983 with the swiveling arms and the peg holes in her feet. Later on, she would be released as Agent Scarlett, and I believe that was in the Pursuit of Cobra movie. She came released as Agent Scarlett, and I believe the reason for that is that Hasbro and Gi Joe lost the trademark to the name Scarlett, so they had to name her Agent Scarlett. So what you have right here before you is the ever elusive Gi Joe retro version of Scarlett, released in 2020. Now, this particular figure, also this particular line, was very interesting because it kind of came out of nowhere, and it was one of those things that it seemed like Hasbro could care less, or Gi Joe could care less about them. They just kind of put something out there. And I guess maybe it was to gather some steam because the classified line was coming. But ultimately, I started hearing talks of these figures coming out into stores. However, I would look for them and I could never find them. There was only a few, like the Stalker figure and some of the Cobra Troopers I was able to find. So Hasbro and Gi Joe pulled the wool over our eyes on that line, because we would hear so much about these figures that are out there and in stores, and I would check all over and I could not find them. You know, you had to go online and pay these outrageous prices for them and all. So with that being said, I mean, it really left a bad taste in the 4-inch modern figure collector's mouth. I think that wasn't fair how they did us, but eventually we ended up getting some figures to, I guess, to further collect. And now it seems like everything has went to the classified line. But ultimately, I can't have any hate for the classified line because it's kind of cool to see that there are popular GI Joe figures on shelves and on pegs, and ultimately, I mean, the GI Joe world lives on. So without further ado, let's get a look at Scarlett. We're going to get her off of the card back. We're going to get a look at her, and I'll let you know what I think about this. All right. So first and foremost, we have her figure stand. Of course, we've seen these before, and pretty much customized with her name on it. Pretty cool. I mean, with this being such a late release, like this line came out, I think the first wave started coming out 2019, 2020. Um, Maybe there should have been a change in these. Maybe paint them or do them in a different color. I don't know. But either way, we like those because it has the figure's name on it and it's good for display. So next, we have her only backpack, which is a molded backpack that looks like it has arrows in it for her crossbow. And it says in her profile that that is her favorite thing. Out of all of the weapons that she's been trained in, she loves her crossbow. So now moving right along in two-part harmony, she has her crossbow here. Nothing really crazy about this. It's just the shape of a crossbow in two pieces. You have to put them together. So here it is all assembled. Plain Jane. I mean, nothing crazy, nothing to really write home about on that. Next up, she has this web gear. And it looks like it buckles in the front. Has a molded firearm there. Some pouches. Pretty plain Jane, but I like it. It's pretty cool. We'll see what it looks like on her later on in the video. And of course, you see that's the peg right there that snaps it in place. So now here we have, off of card, our Agent Scarlett action figure. So first and foremost, I really like the way she was done. I mean, there are a few modern variants of Scarlett out there, and I think this is one of the better ones. However, I think it's still a very cheaply made figure. But the thing is with these, I noticed in the line it looked like they made their figures out of a lot of like a rubbery type of flexible material. This Scarlett actually feels like one of the original moderns that came out like a 25th anniversary or 30th or one of those. She has this bright red, almost orange hair. And I think she's made pretty well. I don't really have any complaints about her. There could have been so much of an opportunity to give her some other equipment, some better equipment. Let's do a 360 on her. See if we can. She got some pouches on her thigh and on her legs. Other than that, she's pretty plain Jane. Awesome. So there you have her, all geared up and ready to go. Her web gear. She's wearing her backpack with her bows in it, and she's carrying the bow and arrow, or the crossbow. So Agent Scarlett has been a pretty cool character in the history of G.I. Joe. We noticed her in a few different fields, a few different variants. We saw her in Ninja Force. We saw her in pilot gear or adorning a pilot's uniform, because of course she's a pilot and she is a karate expert. I like how they kept up with all that throughout the years, because this story with her came out so long ago, 1982, and here we are all the way up in 2000s getting a figure with her wearing pilot's gear, or in the 90s her showing up in Ninja Force. I remember I was young and I didn't understand, like, why is Scarlett in a Ninja Force? Because she's not a ninja. But then I later know why they chose her. So before we get out of here, let's get a look at her card back. Here you have Scarlett. I notice here we do not have the Real American Hero insignia on there. There's a Hasbro logo. There's her in full cartoon mode. Choking hazard, don't let the kids choke on it, 4 and up. Gi Joe logo. Let's turn it around to the back. And here, just a very small introduction to the character. Very, very small. I'll show you what the other ones look like. The other file cards, look like. But it had a little bit more information than this. And here we have the participation trophy that I call it. Every country gets one. And here are some of the figures released in that line, or the characters. And here's some info, GIJoe.com. I know I got a lot of the pictures from yojo.com, but is GIJoe.com still a thing? I don't know, I gotta look it up. Awesome. So, with that being said, I'm going to grade Scarlett here. So, taking into account that she is a female figure, and female figures are definitely made more skinny than the males. And if you look at the female figures, they're often very thin and breakable, because they want to make them smaller. They don't want to make them all buff like the men, like as in just putting a female head on that man's body, you know what I mean? So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to give her a C+. I like the figure, but it's very cheaply made. It was hard to come by. And, just the retro line, my thing with the retro line is that they had opportunities. With it being such a modern line, they had so many opportunities to really go after this line and really make it great, do better than they did in the previous lines, like, Rise of Cobra, 50th, 30th anniversary. Here, I see they did work on eyes. That was their biggest problem, one of their biggest problems in the previous lines. But with this line, I mean, they worked on eyes. But other than that, the grade stands, and we're going to leave it at that, all right? So with that being said, I think I'm going to end this video right here. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below. I'll get to them at my earliest convenience. I appreciate you all. Until the next one, peace.